Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tip Off 2022-2023. Dr. Ron Poniwaz, joined by Professor Larry Kelly. We are the award-winning Tip Off team. Larry Kelly is a member of the Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George law firm, former Newcastle ninth grade basketball coach, boys, and he is the current Shenango varsity baseball coach, district champion baseball coach from a couple years ago, might
Yeah,
I add.
yeah.
Larry, thank you for joining us.
That's called having good players, Ronnie. That's what it's all about. It's having good players,
Yeah.
special players. And we got some Lawrence County basketball teams that have some special players, one of whom, Reagan Atkins. Tell us about her.
Yeah, Reagan Atkins is our athlete of the week this week. She is a Laurel senior guard, 5 foot 10 inches. And Reagan Atkins had 34 points in a 64-36 win over Burrell, a WPIL Class 3A playoff game. She had 7 3-pointers in that game, tying the
Wow.
school. This previous record of 7, which she now has a share of, was set by Faith Gibson in 2018. So Reagan Atkins, athlete of the week. Your thoughts on 34 points?
Well, 34 points in a women's basketball game is amazing, but 7 3-pointers may be even more impressive. That's a lot of 3-pointers. I wonder how many she took in that game. If you hit 7, my experience tells me that you really didn't shoot that many. You were just hot and you had it going that night. And she had half the points in a WPIL playoff game, and that's impressive. That's getting it done. And moving forward, she will have to continue because the road's going to get tougher, right? With each game, with each opponent. They had a home game, did they not, Laurel?
They did.
Yeah. From this point forward, there will all be neutral sites. So, home court advantage is used in basketball. Not just the fan base that brings the excitement to the game, but shooting in your own gymnasium gives you a comfort level that makes it a little bit easier to hit shots. And so when you go into a strange gym where you're not used to shooting, when the background is a little different, when the lighting is a little different, it makes it a little more difficult. And from this point forward, everybody's going to be playing on neutral courts. So it'll be interesting.
Laurel's the number 2 seed. They're now 21-2. They'll play 7th seed Keystone Oaks, and the winner of that game will face off against the winner of the Neshannock Mohawk matchup, and that game will be Saturday. Laurel and Keystone Oaks will be playing on Wednesday night, so tomorrow night for us, being as we are shooting this on Tuesday. I think we can agree that we fully expect Laurel to be part of that Saturday matchup. Who they face, whether it's Neshannock or Mohawk. Neshannock won both games in the regular season, Larry, but neither one of them were by a comfortable margin, 53-50, and I believe the other one was 48-44. So it was anybody's ball game, both games.
Yeah, that's going to be a great ball game. Again, two Tri-County teams, teams that know each other, parents that know each other, fan bases that know each other. That's what was great about the old Tri-County league. You had that every week, whether it was basketball, football, or baseball. So that's going to be a great game. And if Laurel can survive, they got the winner of the Shannock Mohawk. That game probably should be played at Newcastle. That'll be interesting. So it's going to be exciting, and can't wait to watch those games. It's going to be great playoff basketball. There's nothing like it. Survive in advance. And if you have a bad shooting night, you can get beat. And you got to bring your A game. One of your star players gets in foul trouble, and you can be beaten. A bad shooting night, a bad night at the foul line. There's a lot of variables in high school basketball that could make a difference in the outcome. And that's why we say survive in advance. There are no cupcakes from this point forward.
Reagan Atkins played last year, played about a half of the season before she tore her ACL and missed the rest of the basketball season. So she's come back very strong after that ACL injury, Larry. And, that's a very tough injury to come back from, whether you're a professional athlete or a high school athlete. And she's come back very, very well from that. Any thoughts on coming back from that?
Well, sure. She had a great year. The rehab on that is difficult. And, I had 4 daughters that play high school basketball, and I was a little bit concerned about ACL injuries because that injury is more prevalent in the women's game than it is in the men's game. And the rehab is tough. And a lot of that rehab is done without any fanfare, on your own time, away from your teammates. It takes a mentally tough person to come back from that. And Reagan's had a great year. This is just one more shining example of the type of player she is and the type of person she is. And I expect her to be big moving forward throughout these rounds. And, my dear friend, Jimmy Marcantino, I'm so happy for him. He's a great coach. He coached my daughter individually, Ariana, in the summertime, and she loved him. And he brings a lot of enthusiasm and positive energy to the game. And I believe that's important in the women's game. I coached women's basketball. It's a little bit different than coaching the boys side of the game, not from the X's and the O's, but I believe you got to bring a little more positive energy with women. I believe they react better to it. And, Jimmy's all about that positive energy. And, I'm wishing him well, and I'm rooting for my friend.
Expand on that, Larry. You said that the ACL injuries are a little bit more prevalent in the girls' game than it is the boys' game. Why is that?
I read this. I don't know if it's true or not. Women by nature, their hips are set wider than men's because of the childbirth issue later in life. And because their hips are set a little bit wider, they are more susceptible to ACL injuries. And again, I was concerned about that. Again, I had 4 daughters that played basketball, and I kept noticing year in and year out that one of their teammates or somebody on the other team would have this ACL injury. So, I did a little research, and that's what my research revealed.
Takes a doctor to know a doctor, right, Dr. Kelly?
I guess so. I don't know. I'm not so sure I'm a doctor, but I was a little concerned about that. But thank God my 4 daughters made it through their basketball careers without any serious injuries.
Yeah, she's, as you mentioned, she's come back very well from that, having a fantastic season. And she is looking to play basketball collegiately at the next level. She's weighing her options right now, has not committed anywhere. She's kind of looking around at possibly Division II or Division III schools. Larry, the type of talent that she is, I kind of see her going Division II. I don't know what kind of schools are looking at her Division II, but anybody in the PSAC, Slippery Rock for sure.
That's big time basketball, Ronnie. Don't kid yourself. Division II PSAC basketball is big time basketball. And, Reagan at 5'10" and her ability to shoot the three, would make her a really good candidate to play at that level. To be 5'10" in the women's game, oftentimes you're a forward. You play on the blocks. But her ability to shoot the three at 5'10" is going to open up a lot of doors, I think, at the D2 level.
Right. Yeah, she's got that talent. So we'll see. We'll see. You are correct. It is a high level. But she's got that talent, and she continues to play well after that injury. So we will see her decision in the coming weeks and months. Certainly. Larry, anything else you want to say about Laurel basketball or Reagan Atkins Athlete of the Week?
No, congratulations. 34 points, 7 threes in a Whitfield playoff game is big-time stuff from a big-time player, and she's been doing it all year, so this shouldn't surprise anybody. Reagan's a big-time player.
Right. Okay, congratulations, Reagan Atkins, for Athlete of the Week, 34 points in a WPIL playoff over Burrell. And we will be back here to talk about another topic right here on Tip Off, so don't go away.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other, be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.
Okay, we're back with you here on Tip Off. We'll talk about one boys team, one girls team in our secondary segment. And the boys team that we'll talk about is the number 4 seed Mohawk boys in Class 3A, and the girls team will be the number 2 seed in Class 3A in District 10. That'll be Wilmington. Larry, these teams have a lot of similarities. They really do. They've had a great season to this point. Recently, in recent years, the program just hasn't had the success that they're having this year, but they've put it all together this year, and they're both very young basketball teams. The future is shining so bright for both of these teams. Warriors 20-3, Lady Greyhounds 19-3.
Yeah, those are major turnarounds. Those programs have struggled in the recent past, but Ronnie, it's all about the players. It's all about the players. I know there's been a coaching change. The head coaches have changed at both schools, but they'll be the first to tell you it's about the players. And I haven't seen the Wilmington women play, but I have seen the Mohawk boys. Bobby Fadden's a 9th grader. The kid's a fantastic player. He will be a 1,000-point scorer if he stays healthy. He may get 1,500. He's that good. Jay Rona is the coach's son. Kevin Rona coached the boys program out there for years and years. I'm sure that Jay grew up in the gym, just like little Ralphie Belendo grew up in the gym at Newcastle. And he's a fantastic shooter. Both of those players have not only great athletic skills, but they have a great mental game that allows them to be a really good basketball player. There's always 2 aspects to the game. It's the physical skills that you have and that you've been gifted with, but it's the mental aspect of the game. To know when to, go backdoor, to know when to pump fake and get your opponent in the air, to know when to catch and shoot. It's those little things that really differentiate between the average players and the really, really good players. And I saw both Jay and Bobby play, and both of them have both the talent as well as the mental capacity to be really, really good players.
Yeah, just last week, I believe it was late last week, Mohawk won, I want to say the 7th and 8th grade Tri-County basketball championships, and we're going to be receiving more information in the coming days and publicized in the paper. The 8th grade team, from the picture and roster of kids that are on that team, there's Drew Rona. So another Rona is coming up. So next year you'll have Jay as a senior, you'll have Bobby Fadden as a sophomore. I'm sure Drew Rona is probably quite a talent. How much he'll play as a freshman, I know that's putting a lot of burden on him by saying he's going to step right in there and play. But boy, as good of a team as they have this year, just imagine how much better they're going to be next year.
Again, it's all about the players. I will correct you on one thing. I know that the Neshannock 7th grade boys won the Tri-County championship because they beat Shenango in the final. But okay. You're right. You asked me last week, does the talent in the junior high level translate to the varsity level? In my experience in basketball, it definitely does. In my experience, and the guys that have won at Newcastle, 7 WPIAL championships under Coach Belendo, without exception, all came through the junior high program, all had successful junior high careers, won a lot of games, won a lot of tournaments, and it just carried over to the varsity level. So if you have an 8th grade championship team, that's telling me you got some really good players. I'm sure they got some good coaching down there. And, as we move forward, you're seeing less and less of 9th grade basketball. So, kids go from 8th grade to the varsity and JV level. So I'm certain that a lot of those kids who are on that 8th grade team will probably see some playing time at the varsity level next year. And you're seeing that more and more.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. On to the girls. Number 2 seed Wilmington are 19-3. They will play Seneca. Real quick, back to the boys. Mohawk has Deer Lakes 6:00 on Thursday, and over to the Wilmington girls. They're 19-3. They will play Seneca, which is 13-9. That's a Saturday afternoon game at 3 p.m. I believe that one's at Farrell High School. Larry, Wilmington, they kind of got their feet wet a little bit last year. You could tell that they were on the come up, and they put a lot of work in the off season under Mike Jekovich, who had success when he was the boys coach. Slid over into the girls' job, and his program, boy, they've really improved.
Well, I remember it was a few years ago that we were talking about Wilmington not permitting the women's team to go to the playoffs because they had a under 500 record, and as you know, in District 10, you can opt out. Everybody makes the playoffs. Well, haven't we come a long way where they're now the 2 seed? And, one of the favorites to win a district championship. If you ask Mike, I'm sure he'll tell you it's about the players. He has the players who are talented, who are committed, who are focused and play the game physically, tough, but also mentally tough. I always say, I tell my Shenango High School baseball team. And I used to say the same thing at Newcastle when I coached at the junior high level. When everybody else is playing checkers, I want to play chess, okay? I want to play the game at a higher mental level. And in winning basketball programs, that's what you find. I am certain that part of Newcastle's success at the varsity level is because we play the game at a higher mental level than most other teams. Now, you add that to the physical toughness and how hard we play physically and the talent level that we have. When you add all that up all together, you come up with 7. I think it's 7. I lost track. I think it's 7 WPIAL championships. If you want, I can turn around and count the rings that are behind me in my office here. But that's the key. That's the equation. Physical talent, mental toughness, but playing the game with a laser focus at a higher mental level than your opponent. And that means in basketball that you execute your offense, that you execute your defense, that you don't have mental lapses defensively, that, you do what you're supposed to do and you do it consistently for 4 quarters. And if you do that and you have the talent, you're going to play winning basketball. I've seen the movie before, Ronnie. I've been watching this basketball movie for over 20 years. I know what it takes.
And it doesn't change, right?
Not in my experience, it hasn't. And you look at all of these teams, they're not only good players. Like I said, I haven't seen the Wilmington girls, so I can't speak about that, but I've watched the Mohawk team play. They're not only talented, but they play the game at a high mental level. They do, and they make the right plays. You overplay them, they go backdoor. If they're trailing on a cut, you'll go right to the basket. It's all those little things that make the difference. If their defenders trailing on a cut, they'll circle cut, go right to the bucket, get a layup, get a pass, and finish it.
Yeah, and that boys team at Mohawk, they seem to have taken pretty much the same identity as what the girls program did when Mike Olair was there. Defense. Sure, that you can score and have the perimeter game and this and that, but I talked to Mike Olair tonight and asked him what the keys to victory are for their next game against Deer Lakes, and he said we gotta get back to playing really good defense, because when we go through a lull where we don't score, he says we gotta pick it up on the defensive end, so we're not giving up a lot of points and losing a lead or getting further behind. So he says we gotta get in the gym and make sure we're taking care of our the defensive end.
You know what they say, offense wins games, defense wins championships. And, I watched them play. They play a 2-2-1 full court press, and they play it well. And so, when he's talking about defense, I'm sure he not only wants to get stops, but he wants to be able to create points off his defense in transition. In the couple of games that I saw them play, he was able to do that. And that's always been the key at Newcastle. It's a possession game. It's an analytic game, and we create turnovers from our defense that leads to points, and oftentimes easy points in transition.
And getting over to the Wilmington girls, they have a young lady that is just doing so well this year, and she did well last year too and got so much better. As good as she was last year, she's leaps and bounds better. this year. She's got 70 3-pointers, I believe it is. Leads all of District 10 in 3-pointers. I'm not sure if that's all classification or her classification of 3A. And she's also averaging about 20 points a game also. So those are impressive numbers, Larry.
Impressive is probably an understatement. 73 pointers. And did I hear you say 20 points a game or 28?
I think it's 20.
20 points a game where, look, an average women's basketball team scores about 50 points in a game, and she's getting about half of them. So that's impressive. And again, that's why they're 19-3. You need people in crunch time who can create their own shot at times and who will get you that big bucket. I mean, everybody needs one of those guys. And at Newcastle, we've been very fortunate. We always had, if not one of those guys, sometimes 2 and 3 of those players that were able to get it done in crunch time.
Now, Mango, you got an earring for your district championship.
I did.
You mean to tell me when Newcastle won a basketball championship, you didn't get a tattoo on either arm? And
there was no chance I was getting a tattoo. No, none. And you know the story about the earring. My players would show up with earrings. It was about the second practice, and I said, "Oh, boys, we don't wear earrings at practice." Their response is, "Why, Coach? Everybody wears them." No, everybody doesn't wear them. I don't wear an earring, and I never will. Why, Coach? You look good in an earring. No chance. And then one of those wise guys goaded me and said, "Coach, if we win the Whippeal Championship, will you get an earring?" Well, at the time, we were 2-2. We had just gotten beaten 20-8 by Mars. And I'm thinking, yeah, no shot. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'll get an earring if we win the Whippeal Championship. And then we won 21 games in a row, and yours truly got an earring.
Yeah. And I'll never forget that score because I remember telling you, I think that was a Saturday game. And I remember telling you that Sunday night, well, you went for 2 and successfully got it at least.
Yeah, we got beat 20-8 that day. And I'm thinking, yeah, there's no chance we're winning the Whippeal. Well, they proved me wrong, and I got my earring. And I left it in for about maybe a week to 10 days. I did.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah. So that's my earring story. Well, why don't Coach O'Lear, Coach Jekovic, Coach Marcantino, one of those guys, just make the promise. If we win the district, I'm going to get an earring. There's the challenge, boys. Go do it. Because it's been a long time since Laurel, Mohawk, and Wilmington has won a district championship, right?
I'd like to know what the odds are for any of those guys to take you up on that.
Those odds are probably lower than the odds were of Larry Kelly getting an earring. That's for darn sure. But I did. I was a man of my word.
Now, you're already in the clubhouse with it. They're not. So I'd like to see what those odds are.
Yeah.
All right, Larry, we have just a couple moments left here before we go on our way. We got a lot of basketball games coming up the rest of the week. Now we're getting into the part of the season where if you get to the quarterfinals and you lose, it's not over. You're still going over to the consolation bracket.
Yeah.
Just your thoughts on the state of basketball. That part of the basketball coming up where you get to keep playing and stay fresh for the state playoffs.
Yeah, it's exciting, Ronnie. This is an exciting time of year. It really is. And, I got to be honest, it's the first year in probably 20 years or more that I have not coached basketball at some level. And I miss it, man. I do. I miss it. I go to the games, I watch, and I miss it. There's something special about coaching up hoops, being with the kids, the excitement of it, before the game, after the game. Maybe that's my next book. I could write a book, of just being around it so long. It is just, it's an experience. And, it was a gift from God to me for the last 12 years to coach at Newcastle. And as I told you, I will always be grateful to Ralph Belundo for giving me that opportunity.
Well, I will be happy to copy edit that book, but I need to be paid quadruple what you were going to offer me, plus a couple cases of whiskey or something, because I got to have something to get me through the damn thing.
You got the job, Ronnie. You got the job. You got the job. I already got the name. Survive in Advance.
There you go.
I got the title, Survive in Advance.
Not copyright infringement at all, is it?
No, yeah, is it? I don't know. There was a ESPN did the 1983 story of the 1983 North Carolina State Wolfpack under Jimmy V. They called it Survive in Advance. I'll have to check on that.
Sure.
Well, that's your job. If you're going to be my copy editor, you need to check on that.
Okay, I think I need 5 times the payment. Got to make it worth my while, Larry.
There you go, brother. You got the job.
All right, sounds good. Everybody, best of luck to you out in the playoffs, boys and girls teams, coaches, student athletes, what have you. It's fun watching the teams play. I tell you what, we haven't had too many losing games. I was surprised Elwood City boys were a one and done. Jordan Keller didn't play; he had an illness, so that eliminated them. Laurel got eliminated tonight by Aliquippa. Outside of that, everybody's 100%. Everybody's winning. So we wish everybody the best of luck. We'll talk about you next week. And for Larry Kelly, I'm Ron Poniwaz. Enjoy the basketball games, everybody. We'll see you next week.
I became an attorney because I believe in hard work, fairness, and human decency. In a word, justice. Our workers' compensation clients deserve justice because in an instant, their hard work turns into hard times when they get hurt on the job. No doubt, life is tough, but so am I. I've been fighting all my life, and I'll keep fighting for you. I'm Joe George, and here in Lawrence County, it's personal.